Hi empaths, welcome to more crystal sessions. So choosing a crystal that really draws you visually, feeling energy from your heart center come out through your eyes into the stone. On the left we have Garnet and Muscovite. In the center we have Halite. And on the right we have a Smoky Quartz. Just sending your energy. And then I'll tune into the crystal and see what comes in. See what we will be alchemizing. You may want to watch the video from beginning to end, or go right to the timestamp of the crystal you choose. All right, let's get started. Hi there to those of you that chose the Garnet in Muscovite. It doesn't always focus for me, but it's a really lovely piece. It actually came in that I should use this crystal when I tuned into my vortex about which stones to work with. I was going to do the platonic solids, and then it came in, no, don't do that. Work with this Muscovite garnet. The piece popped in, and I was like, all right, let's see what comes in. So let's tune in. I'm actually seeing I started to see riding this old crickety roller coaster that's at this theme park that I used to go to as a child. But I think the reason I saw that was because the element of the wind, air is coming in as medicine. In order to clear and cool. I'm seeing standing out in the fallen leaves. There's a crispness in the air as the trees transform, prepare. This breeze comes through and it's really refreshing, really nurturing. I'm actually seeing I keep seeing myself in these visions. I'm seeing myself dressed in not quite a pilgrim, but like a black dress and then a bonnet that's black and white. Now that I think about it, I think that was a Halloween costume I had. I played Little Bo Peep one year. So I guess we are nearing Halloween. Maybe that's why that came in. Let me tune into that a little bit more. I'm actually seeing sheep, sheep running, being herded, and having this idea that people use the word sheep and call other people sheep as a derogatory term, as an insult, right? You're such a sheeple, right? We say sheeple, sheep, just following the herd, right? And that idea is being questioned here. That idea of really valuing or putting individuation on a pedestal. And not that we shouldn't think critically and think for ourselves, but this fact that but what it also might affect or criticize is the fact that we require interpersonal relationships, right? As people, as humans, we do need other people, and we do need to learn to work together. And I think that this is coming in like, but what about the gentleness and the softness of a sheep? Like, there's beauty in that too. I think that was coming in for me because so this might resonate for you too. That's coming in for me because I never wanted to be, for some reason, I didn't want to be seen as gullible or naive or an easy target. But it's interesting because Rachel, my name means ewe, E-W-E, female sheep, right? Lamb of God, in a way, like a derivative of that. And in Hebrew, I believe. And so it's just interesting that that came in, and I'm seeing myself disassociated, but in the view here, in these images, that the message coming in is when we have this belief that we shouldn't need other people, and sometimes we think we don't, we hurt, we do suffer, So if you're suffering around this concept, I know, especially now when we're distancing, right? When maybe we're starting to come out of this social distancing, but it's been very hard on people, even introverts, right? Even hermits. I can speak for the hermits. It's been hard for everybody. And possibly, hopefully this will help many of us begin to value connection again, value the social needs, the interpersonal need to be with other people, and to learn how to navigate that with more ease and appreciation, maybe to soften our edges. I think, it's been so intense. I'm also seeing getting close to the sheep, holding it, soothing it, right? Calming it by rubbing it soft. It's not fur, but it's coat, whatever you call that. The wool of the sheep. It's not wool while it's still on the sheep, is it? I'm seeing petting the sheep, calming it, soothing it, making it feel safe. Maybe there's part of you that could really use some soothing. And as a self-healer, maybe you are a self-healer, can you give yourself some soothing, some loving care, maybe with your nice crystal layout? I know I had to do that recently, just yesterday, giving yourself a nice crystal layout, or meditation, or some energy, right? Just giving yourself some energy, tuning in, asking what you need. I'm starting to feel this emotion coming up. That maybe there's a part of you that's been pushed out for a while and ignored because you just can't quite bring yourself to face it. That it's maybe a little bit sad. It needs some gentleness. And I guess that's why the sheep showed up, this herd of sheep. Maybe there's some fears that are engaged, some sadness that's coming in, and some loneliness perhaps. And while we maybe use the word sheep as an insult a lot of times, you know, would we, judge a herd animal for needing to be with other animals of its kind? I mean, that's how it's built. That's how it's made. That's the way it is designed, right, to function. And, we're not that dissimilar. We need other people. And we also need to be present for ourselves too. And I think sometimes we come out of that and wonder why we're suffering. We don't want to listen. We don't want to, and we've learned that probably, right? It's something that was conditioned in that, well, you ignore that part, right? You keep going, you suck it up and you keep going. And there's a part that's calling out for some love, some tenderness. The same kind of love and care and concern and compassion that you would give to this frightened sheep, right? That's what I keep imagining, is seeing this frightened sheep, like not knowing what's happening, right? That indicates to me it's probably a very young part that's not very seasoned or weathered, right? That that's very innocent and pure, and was pushed aside because it was so innocent and maybe deemed too naive to show up, right? This part of you can't show up because you'll get taken advantage of, or you'll be seen as naive and gullible, and we can't have that, right? Especially if you were in a harsh environment, right? Or really critical environment. Feeling like you were judged. I wouldn't expect that from Garnet and Muscovite. But I'm sort of sensing this, these layers near the heart of not allowing people or energies to get too close, because there's this tender spot, there's this sensitivity because of a wound that's still hurting. It's still waiting to be soothed or acknowledged. And in the light of your love and awareness and acknowledgement, listening, right? Listening. And as we do that now, right? Acknowledging that feeling, I feel you, I see you, I hear you. That heaviness near the heart softens. There's a lightening up. Right, imagining looking at this scared little animal, right? How you might have compassion for an animal and saying, it's going to be okay. You're okay. I'm here. It's safe. You're all right. You can feel that easing. And then there was some tension in the shoulder, sort of this alertness that you might find in a prey animal, right? That's in fear. So we have that component as humans, don't we? We're in part prey and part hunter, so we might find that that happening to us. So as I sort of gently let that part of me know, I'm here, you're safe, it's okay, giving you gentility, giving you my acknowledgement, my attention, my awareness. Feels like it was in the emotional layer of the aura. As that eased and released, I started to become aware of the tension that I was holding. And as I give that attention awareness, that kind of eases up too, melting. And then I feel my whole system adjusting around that. So allowing that to shift out. And then you can see this balancing wanting to happen. Interesting working with the layers. The layers of the auric field as this garnet is surrounded by muscovite, right? Very interesting how we might see like layers of the aura showing up. So perhaps that's why. And then the then the wind coming to clear any additional debris energetically. That's sort of loosened and ready to go. And you know, that tension wants to sneak back in, and just reminding it that it's okay, it's safe. Remember, we addressed this and you're okay now. I really feel this is so much lighter. I don't know if you can feel that. So if you were holding something here, you know, I was having the urge to cry when I was really thinking about it and tuning in. And now that's really released, it's eased. That piece feels complete. Complete. And I'm seeing the sheep. I'm seeing the sheep sort of walking off, less alert, less in fear, feeling like it's safe, enjoying, going at its own pace. Right, good. So if you're getting hooked in, right, to maybe other people's drama, or, you know, the media loves to do that to us, hook us into fear, and just check in with yourself and take really good care of a sensitive system, right? If that's what you're experiencing, take really good care there, and treat yourself with some gentleness, right? Maybe a nice cool breeze is going to be healing and soothing for you. Yeah. And building this self-trust by being there and acknowledging those feelings as they come up. Sometimes it's a really young part of us, an inner child part that is scared, feels alone, might feel abandoned, and it's creating some pain, even physical pain in the body, and that's often pent up emotions that are stored and we haven't really addressed or released or digested. So just noticing and tuning in and being your own best healer, right? And creating that state of inner harmony by doing these rituals of self-trust and just being present with yourself. You'll be able to be more present with other people, and have better boundaries around not getting hooked in to the drama or intensity of the people around you, or feel even in, you know, something that maybe is intended to be an insult loses its charge when we really look at it, right? Like we were looking at the sheep. Well, there's negative connotations, but it's a beautiful thing to acknowledge that, you know, relationships and connections are important, and that we need them as social creatures, right? So not going, you know, swinging the pendulum the other way to overcompensate for fear of being seen as gullible or naive, or stupid, right? Or whatever the fear is, that there are some beautiful qualities underneath that, you know, having trust and this pure heart, and but that can be balanced with good self-care and strong boundaries. So I hope there was some medicine in there for you. And if you need gentleness, take care of yourself, right? I'm starting to do more alchemy work with people. So check that out on my services page. More, really tuning up my distance healing work and skills. And so that's available there too. urbanempath.com/services. And thanks for liking the video, subscribing to the channel, letting me know if that resonated, and maybe check out the other crystals to see what's there. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, empath. Hi there to those of you that chose the Halite. Let's tune in and see what comes up. I'm feeling tension release from the shoulders, really relaxing, the crown opening I'm feeling my crown opening. Really aligned here. As information, well, energy at least. I don't know what information it contains, but I'm feeling almost like you might see like a in an old painting, religious art, the gold halo, right? I'm seeing that energy surrounding the head, and the shoulders really coming down. Which allows, instead of like sometimes we're tempted to move up and reach up to come out of the body, but when we relax down, we can invite that connection. We don't have to invite it, it's there, but it makes us a more optimal channel if we're relaxed. So maybe you're noticing in those times where you're deeply relaxed, whether it be when you're falling asleep or during sleep, right? Or in the mornings when you're not quite fully awake, that you're getting guidance, vision, epiphanies, just an inner knowing, right? Because this is associated with claircognizance. Feeling really relaxed right now. Sort of floating in this sea of energy. Noticing how connected everything is. Right? That's what I'm really aware of right now, that nothing's really separate. And my awareness is so expanded. And the more aware I am of that expansion, the more the tension in my body, my system eases, is released. It sort of floats away. And I'm feeling really open. If I wasn't holding on to this, I'd want my hands to go down and just feel, so open. Open to guidance, open to information, answers. This might be a call for you to really make sure you're meditating enough, or giving yourself plenty of time to sleep so that things are worked out in your subconscious through that time. Taking that time to expand your awareness out. Maybe you're working with consciousness, working with different states of consciousness. This is the feeling I get when I do peripheral vision work, where I work on expanding my awareness all the way from the front of my third eye to the back of the third eye, and it's just trying to take in all the space around me, right? Really connecting to space. Do you have enough space? Or do you feel like you have plenty of space right now? Like you're kind of calling out into the void. Is there anyone out there? Or do you feel like you need more space? Are you processing something right now? Are you processing a loss right now? Sometimes when I tune in and connect, ether represents in that space. Ether represents, it can be connected to loss, to grief, to letting go of something. Giving yourself the gift to process all of that, the space to do so. Maybe you're feeling really distant. There's a clearing though. There's a clearing that's happening. A release and an ease, something that's making that mandatory is the word that's coming in. Something that's making that is there something that happened in your experience that's forcing you to sort of attune to like the unknown, the connection to all things. Potential energy, the formless. It's almost like the feeling where if you're working with the idea and the concept of impermanence, creating something really intricate, that takes a lot of focus and effort. And since it's a practice in impermanence, like creating a mandala in sand or something, and then as soon as it's complete, right, these intricate details and this beauty, as soon as it's complete, clearing it away and then back to the nothingness. That's sort of what this feeling is. So maybe something was just completed, a part of the process or leg of the journey is complete, or you feel like there's this clearing, this starting fresh. Coming back to neutral. Maybe even feeling forced into this position of having to trust in the process. Making yourself a clear channel. Really coming back into this state of oneness. The sensation I'm feeling is just extremely relaxed, neutral. I mean, halite is a clearing. I would use halite to neutralize charged energy. So I can see why that makes sense for halite. And this blossoming, this opening, maybe you really are beginning to develop the crown chakra. Maybe you're putting a lot of focus and energy in that development there, and that's associated with ether, right? The element that we're talking about, space, expansion, oneness, as are the throat and the third eye, right? So those chakras are associated with the element of ether. So maybe you're developing the upper chakras here, working on intuition, listening, receiving, working with guides, or maybe you recently had a big release and you're feeling clear. Oh, this is the still point. So what I'm getting is this, what I'm experiencing right now is this stillness, the still point that we might experience in the manifestation process, or we've put it all out there. We've set our intentions. We've completed guided actions. We got the energy in motion. And then we might get the guidance to be still, to pause, to let go, let go of attachment to outcome, and be in the stillness. That's what this is. This is the stillness. So maybe you are mastering manifestation, and you're just now getting comfortable with that guidance of, now we're in the stillness. That can be the most challenging part for many people. But what I'm feeling right now is intense relaxation, alignment, opening for guidance, a clear channel, for any information to come in, and openness, wide open to receive. That could be another feeling here, this manifestation. So maybe you're looking to manifest something and you've put in all the work, right? And now you're getting the guidance to wait, be still, be in the still point of your manifestation. And that means we've done all we can do. And now we let go of the expectations, the attachment to the outcome. And then, awaiting more guidance, right? This is why we're open. And signs and synchronicities that the manifestation is coming, that it's taking place. That's a good reminder for me too. I'm learning to be comfortable with the still point. Not forcing the river. Being still and opening to receive. This is something I'm learning to do as well. So really relaxing into the process. So let me know if that's what you're experiencing as well. the people that chose Halite. One of the services I'm offering now is initiating into this process of alchemical transformation, manifestation, as well as distance healing work and things like that. I'm really honing my offers there, so you might want to check those out, urbanempath.com/services. Let me know if this resonated in the comments. Are you manifesting something? Are you being called to be still and open, right, for the fulfillment of the manifestation? Let me know. Thanks for liking and subscribing to the channel. That's really valuable to me. I'm feeling really, really relaxed from holding this Halite. Maybe this is your nature. I don't know. This feels really good. And yeah, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye, empath. Hi there to those of you that chose the Smoky Quartz. I love these little rough pieces. My camera doesn't really love to focus for me. Oh, there we go. I loved that little rainbow in there. So let's tune in and see what the message is for the Smoky Quartz people. So my energy is being pulled back. I'm being reminded to check in with the back of my energy field, the back of the chakras. Particularly the back of the heart and the root. And focusing on the back of the chakra system sometimes represents to me self-care, right? Remembering to care for yourself, your connection to yourself. Connecting the root to the heart. It's safe for you to feel. It's safe for you to connect. Or what can you do to make it safe, right? Or oh, and boundaries replacing blocks. There's also a question of integration, not just shadow, but light. Really self-actualizing here. This might be some of the inner alchemy work that you're doing. Knowingly or unknowingly. Maybe this is, you know, what you're working with right now. Integrating aspects of yourself. What I'm seeing is parts of you really coming together. And I'm almost seeing like this zipping up, and things really coming in and connecting and making you feel more solid. Like where there were like fragmented parts that didn't feel all that connected to one another, right? This kind of inner separation coming together and kind of interlocking and zipping up, connecting into one. And while they don't dissolve into the whole or dissolve into one another, they're still separate parts. There's harmony. There's acknowledgement, and this inner harmony and this connection creates this feeling of safety. Because in order to acknowledge this part of me, I don't have to come ungrounded or separate from other parts, if that makes sense. I can acknowledge this is part of me, but this is also part of me, and this is also true, right? And I'm sort of making peace with my contradictions. I'm making peace with the fact that there are these different parts, and that's okay. And that's how most people are. That's how it's supposed to be. And that sometimes it will seem contradictory. And that might be what brings balance for me. So this is one example that's coming in. While one part of me really wants to exercise and feel strong and grounded in my body, there's another part of me that really wants to relax and lounge and veg out. And they're both there. But they're both true. They're both me. They're both parts of me. And when I'm exercising and working out my body, I'm not betraying this part that wants to lounge. That part can step aside and allow the part that wants to be active and working out and strong to do its thing. And then the part that wants to relax and lounge and veg at the appropriate times is free to do that too. And the part that wants to be active and strong and fit knows that brings balance too and isn't going to judge. So there's less self-judgment here because I can acknowledge these parts that this other part that's a critic or judge might come in and try to pit them against one another, right? We have all these personalities internally too, right? We might see it outside of ourselves more clearly in friend groups or whatever, but it's happening internally too, isn't it? Sometimes when we're vegging out, we have to escape and can't even enjoy the relaxation because we're judging ourselves. I should be productive. I should be doing things. I should be working out, right? So maybe what you're learning here is that these are all parts with good intentions. They're all parts that want to care for you. They're all these inner parts that have a purpose, and learning to show them respect, show yourself respect in that way, acknowledging that you can have good judgment and good decision-making skills without being a harsh critic or judge of yourself. Kind of learning to neutralize that. And that when you choose, really choose, when you choose to sit and relax and binge watch something, choose that and be with it and be present with yourself there, right? It's, Don't make yourself wrong for doing that. Maybe you're learning this self-acceptance, this idea that you can be this kind of kaleidoscope of preferences, needs, without, your self-identity kind of coming unglued, right? It's like if you see yourself a certain way and then partake in a behavior that doesn't really seem like it coincides with that, we can really suffer, right? We can actually even punish ourselves for that. But, balance is a beautiful thing. It's required. So what's really being called for here is this radical self-acceptance and compassion, that these are all parts of you that want to be loved and acknowledged, and that sometimes you're going to want to relax, and you got to give yourself that, right? And just really give yourself that. There are going to be times where you really feel called to explore these other parts of you, and it feels like a contradiction. And what's really being irritated or activated is that inner critic or judge, and your self-identity feels a little confused or attacked or something like that. But what's actually happening is there's this inner harmonizing that's happening. Maybe you're noticing that. Are you finding that you're less judgmental of yourself, that your inner critic is not popping up as much? You're really integrating parts of yourself, and that neutralizes the charge, the reaction. When you're able to own parts of yourself that feel like they're in contradiction, it helps us be less reactive. Things are less likely to kind of sneak up on us, come in through the back door. And one of my internal family systems teachers might call that juxtaposition. If we can hold both and own both at the same time, hold them both in our minds, it neutralizes them. So this idea of, this was just an example, but I mean, I really resonate. This is the example that came in. I really resonate with the one who really wants to be fit and strong and feel great in their body. That part of me that wants to work out. Then the other part that gets really tired is managing all of the psychic energy and emotional intensity of this time, and knows it needs just time to rest and relax to process that, sometimes even veg out as the subconscious is going to town, So, but if I can own and acknowledge and have compassion for both parts, and not be so critical, and say, well, I don't resonate with a lazy person. I don't want to be lazy. Or I don't, stop pushing me. Like I just, for the part that's like, you need to go even if you don't feel like it, because I have that part too, right? They can actually work together and harmonize and bring the strengths of each. The one that knows how to relax and knows how to take care and be gentle, and the one that knows how to push me and motivate me, they can work together. They don't have to be enemies and separate inside of me. I can create harmony here. And when that's the case, the inner critic and judge relaxes as well. It's not as hard on me. I don't feel as vulnerable to self-loathing, self-hatred, self-abuse. I feel safer to be in my body. I feel safer to open. And some of the walls can come down because I don't need to guard that image so much. I think that's what's coming into, is that sometimes we get defensive because it's how we see ourselves that's at stake, and we're personalizing, and other people are thinking about us much less than we think they are. I was always so self-conscious, and that was a huge unburdening for me when I realized that other people aren't really that concerned. That my internal experience, because I'm so sensitive and I was carrying so much shame for not just myself, but my lineage, that I had to unburden that for my ancestors as well. But when I realized that other people are thinking about me a lot less than I think they are, well, that was a relief. That was a huge relief, that I'm not really under the microscope the way I think I am. And how I feel about myself and my opinion of myself is actually much more important and valid than others' criticisms. In fact, it shows up that way in life, right? If I want to guard against being seen as lazy, well, as soon as someone's watching me, I get up and I start moving, and I have to paint that picture for people. But if that's not something that I'm that concerned about, because I love myself either way, whether I'm relaxing or working hard or exercising or whatever, I don't feel that I need to compulsively paint that picture for people. Right? It's not this, I'm not driven to do that. So maybe this is something that's happening for you, this integration. Interesting that comes up, because Smoky Quartz is a stone you might work with to help integrate the light body. I might work with this for integration, grounding down, connecting to my true self. It's one of those stones that for me, it has a grounding effect because it's easier to be in my body, because there's more inner harmony, because it's supporting this integration. So it does feel safer to be in my body and to be authentic. I think that's the key word. I kept saying harmony, and in a way that's the right word too, but it's really about this authenticity, who I really am, that these parts are me and they're working together, and that I'm getting more and more comfortable with that and creating balance with that. And maybe that's what you're experiencing right now. Are you feeling an ease? Are you noticing these contradictions? And it's not as charged. There's less judgment of yourself. It's more like, oh, that's so funny because I see myself as this, but I keep doing this and showing up this way. That's so funny. That's so interesting. And it's less, right? Maybe you're also finding humor because I'm seeing like if you're able to laugh at certain things, you're transmuting energy, right? That has a transmutive effect. As we laugh, we actually transmute energy. And I'm seeing this video that was online of Oprah talking about balance and how she just really values balance, and she's finding that she wants to create balance in all things, and that's really her path. And as she's saying that, she falls down on stage, and it was just so ironic, but she really laughed it off. You don't see that in the clip that's going on. Like, look for that clip. It's just so ironic that she's talking about balance and then she falls on stage. But she was able to laugh at herself and take it seriously, and or not take herself so seriously, and just be like, well, hey, people fall. there I went down. So, and then it was sort of like, yeah, balance is key, isn't it? Balance is important. But also coming back to safety, to be vulnerable, that could have been a very humiliating experience for her. But one thing she's really worked on is authenticity, and self-acceptance. So she felt perfectly safe and fine falling in front of all these people on stage, being filmed. And I forget what she said she was most concerned about. I forget what she ended up saying in an interview when people asked her about that. She was just like, I figured, oh, well, I fell. I think she said she was afraid she wouldn't be able to get back up. That was her biggest thing, was like, well, I hope I can get back up. She said she wore the wrong shoes. So, so really working on authenticity means there's never a fear of being exposed. There's never this fear of the big reveal that you're not who you've been putting out there, because you've been working on authenticity all along. And I think there's really a lot of value in that. Not oversharing or over revealing, but being willing to be real, not really trying to paint a picture of somebody that you're not. And I think that comes from insecurity. That's all, And when we become more integrated and more comfortable with our parts, and we take stellar care, it's so much easier to be vulnerable. Authentic is maybe the better word. And that enhances every connection, because people appreciate someone who's really accepted themselves. It helps them feel in balance and safe with you, because you don't judge yourself so harshly, so they won't feel judged. And then this becomes contagious, right? This radical self-acceptance. That's what we're modeling. So I really love that. I love that message. I love that this is what we're working out here. I really relate to this message. So let me know if you do. Are you working on, do you notice that you're noticing your contradictions more, and it's more humorous than fearful or self-judgment? You're able to see the humor, or just neutral. This is just how life is. You have different parts and there's contradictions, but that's everybody. Everybody's going through that. So let me know if you're working on this radical self-acceptance. I'm actually updated my services, and I've been supporting people in creating their vortex, to support them in co-creating and manifesting their purpose and optimal outcome. It feels like really sacred work. I'm so excited to share that. So check out urbanempath.com/services for that. I'm also doing more distance healing work, deepening my abilities there. So check out that. Thanks for liking the video and subscribing to the channel. That's really valuable to me. I feel the work shifting here, wanting to do more alchemy. So thank you for your patience as I sort of work through that transition. I've gone through a lot of transitions on this channel, as I want to consistently put content out there for you that's valuable. Sometimes when I'm in a transition, it doesn't feel like it's as valuable. I feel a little insecure about it, because it's probably not what you're used to consistently. But I'm going to go with it, and you're going to see me shift and grow and change as we go. I really appreciate your patience and support and compassion around that. And the crystals I feel like the crystals want me to do more alchemy than reading. So that's kind of been what's happening. As I'm sort of really getting clear about my path and offerings. So thank you for going on the path and journey with me. And yeah, share with anyone you think this might benefit. And I'm really grateful for you all. I will see you in the next one. Bye.